Get Your Right On Podcast, a podcast for aspiring authors who are ready to publish their books.
Oh yeah.
Each week, we interview authors, learning about their publishing journey, and giving you tips to get your books published the right way. Now, here's your host, Shantae Williams.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Get Your Right On podcast. I am your host, Shantae Williams, and I'm also the owner of Relentless Publishing House. And here on our Get Your Right On podcast, we interview authors from coast to coast, learning about their author journey, learning about how they got started, the lessons that they learned, and their love for writing. So today, you guys, we have a triple treat. So today we actually have 3 episodes we are recording today so that you guys can come back and listen to us today if you're watching these live, listening to these live. So today, our first author we have, Violette, is a happily married mother, writer, folk artist, poet, and native of Atlanta, Georgia. She earned her BA in English at Clark University and a MDiv at the Interdenominational Theological Center. She is a certified herbalist, life coach, and educator. The great-granddaughter of a dreamer interpreter, Violette is a lover of all things supernatural and loves to write paranormal, fantasy, and horror. All right, you guys, welcome. Help me welcome to the podcast, Miss Violette. Hello. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, thank you so much for joining on this podcast. I absolutely love meeting authors who write a plethora of different genres from what I write and from what I publish. And so the first thing I always like to ask people is, why do you write your books?
I love stories and I love the imagination. I grew up, my great-grandmother, at her feet, she used to tell the most fantastic tales of the supernatural. So just the paranormal is a part of me, and I grew up with a storyteller, so it was only natural for me to become one.
Awesome. I love it. So it was embedded in you. I love it. It's crazy how the things we have grown accustomed to when we're little, how they intertwine into our adult life. Some things we be like, that's okay. And some things we like, yeah, I want to gravitate to that. So that's always interesting. So tell us, what are some lessons you have learned on this author journey? What are some things that you wish somebody would have told you prior to becoming a published author?
I think you should write because you love to write, not for the money, not for fame, but you write because you must. And I think when you write for wrong reasons, it's hard to be successful in it. But if you write because that is your passion and that is your calling, you will do well. You're guaranteed to do well.
I have to concur with that. I think a lot of people, they start writing these books thinking, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money. And it's money driven, right? They don't have any strategy. They really don't love it. They're doing it for profit. While some people have been successful in that, but when you're talking about long term, that is going to wean itself out because your heart's not in it. Mm-hmm. So I absolutely agree that if you decide to write a book, make sure that it's purposeful. Make sure that it's what you're called to do, and that's in your heart, because your passion for it is it's what's going to drive you even when your sales aren't what you think they should be.
Absolutely.
That's the part I don't think we talk about. Like, how do you stay passionate? You don't get a sale in a month or two. Like, how do you stay motivated? Like, what do you do?
Well, see, the thing is, when you're a writer and that's what you do, you're going to do it whether you sell 1 book or 100 million books, because that's what you do. Like, I've been writing since I was 12 years old. I've been writing poetry and short stories. It's just like artists who doodle everywhere. You're going to do it anyway. So the money is it's just the icing on the cake. Everyone wants to be a bestseller, but you're going to do it anyway. So that's why it's so important to love what you do, because otherwise it's going to be like any other job. It's like you can get paid 6-7 figures, but you want to kill yourself every time you walk into the door. It's not a passion. It's not something that you want to do. So if you want to be a writer, you're going to do it anyway. And money is just
right. And you have strategies in place. So you have a plan. So you should never really have any long period of time where you don't have sales. But in the event that you do, maybe something's going on with the economy or whatever, like you said, when you love it, you don't stop.
Yep.
You don't stop. And I've had the privilege of meeting a lot of aspiring authors who got frustrated because the support wasn't there from family and friends. And, you know, and I'm sitting here thinking that shouldn't be your whole goal, right? Their job is not to help make you rich. Because
that is very true.
They don't want you to do better than them. So, and then they're not your target audience, right? So right. I think a lot of aspiring authors are frustrated because there's a lot of people out there teaching, oh, you can make 6 figures with your book and blah, blah, blah. While that is true, there's a lot of work that goes behind that. It's not just you write a book, put it on Amazon, and the money starts rolling in. Like there's a whole marketing strategy that has been planned out before you publish the book to make that happen. So I think there's a misconception when we self-publish our books that we're automatically going to be famous. And then when we're not, we get frustrated. So I definitely agree with you.
Yeah. It's millions of writers on Amazon, like millions. And everyone thinks their book is brilliant. I think mine is the greatest book ever written. But the thing is, you have to find your tribe. And as a writer, know that your story isn't for everybody. And that's okay. You just have to find the people who love what you do. And you don't mimic anyone else's voice or steal anyone's style. And of course, you're going to be inspired by other people. But you have a story to tell. And you just find the people who like what you do.
And that's why it's crucial that you know who your target audience is. And it's not everybody. And I think sometimes that's another misconception. People think, oh, I have to write a book, right? And so everybody's going to buy it. Because guess what? You're not the first person who has written a book on that topic. And you won't be the last.
Yeah. That is true.
So I love it. I absolutely love it. So what are some other lessons that you've learned on this publishing journey? I think there's an echo.
It's the echo. Is that bad?
Yeah.
That's better?
Yes.
Okay. For me, I started off with a small press, which I was very grateful to be given the chance. But, you know, everyone has their gifts. But if you are good at it and you know what you're doing, I say cut out the middleman. It's, you know, the time in publishing has changed. It's not even that many brick and mortar stores anymore. So this is the greatest time to be an independent writer, that you can promote your own stuff and brand yourself and really go out there, and you don't have to conform to anything, but to write the stories that you want to tell. So what I've learned to just really be true to your vision. Mm-hmm. And of course, being true to your vision doesn't mean that you don't listen to wise counsel. Absolutely. But, you know, be true to your vision. You don't have to, like, for example, when I first started writing in speculative fiction, because I write paranormal, fantasy, horror. And I remember people say, well, go ahead and write street lit. That'll sell faster. You know, or write erotica. I don't have a problem with those genres, but that's just not what I do. Right. And I wasn't going to change the stories that I wanted to tell because people thought that would sell faster. So I think the thing that I've learned is to be true to who you are. That's your brand. You are your brand.
I love it. And you said 2 powerful things. One is that you are the brand. I think a lot of aspiring authors, especially, they falter by thinking the book is the brand. People have to buy you before they buy the book. And if we're honest, a lot of times the reason our books aren't selling is because we're not sellable. And if we're really honest, a lot of us are just ratchet. You know, our social media is full of hot mess. And it's like, if I go to your social media, why would I support you? There's nothing positive, uplifting. There's nothing even about your book on your social media. So I think people try to separate themselves from their book, and it just doesn't work, because once you start building an author brand, it's built around you and not your book, right? So you are the tree and your books are the branches, but without the tree, there is no branches. And so we have to work on that author brand, which is us, and making sure that we're presentable, making sure that we're sellable, that we're believable, that we're likable, that we walk in integrity, that we look like what we're trying to sell. That's I think we miss that. I think we really miss. The second thing you said was powerful, was not conforming. A lot of us, not us, but a lot of authors try to write trending topics of what's hot, and it's not really who they are. And so they become one-hit wonders, because you're trying to get something while it's hot, and it's going to make you rich and famous. And while that may work for a season, it's not going to work for longevity, because if it's not who you are, you're not going to be able to continually keep that up. And so I love how you stay true to yourself, in spite of people saying, oh, well, if you do this, you can make more money. Okay, but I'm not going to be happy, and I'm going to be stressed. And that's not what I want to do, period. You can go write that and make them quick money, but that's not who I am. So I absolutely love that you were willing to stay true to who you are and what you write, and not worry about somebody saying, oh, but you'll make more money. I think a lot of times we chase the money and not purpose. And so as a writer, we have to know where we stand. You have to know, what genre am I writing in? And if you write in multiple genres, then you have to understand there's an audience for each genre. And you have to have strategic marketing plans for each, because some people may not like this other genre. So you got to figure out, how do you promote this genre without losing your audience from your other genre? So there's a lot that goes into that as well. But I love, those are two powerful points that I think we miss as authors, that we are the author brand and we should not compromise. Quick money is not good money. I think a lot of us can attest, and we've seen it. Quick money is not always good money. Sometimes quick money is just what it is. Easy come, easy go.
Yes.
Easy go. So I love it. I love it. So tell us the books that you have written and published, and how can they purchase them? And also, how can they follow you on social media?
All of my books are available on Amazon and VioletteMeier.com. I'm Violette Meier, Violette L. Meier on Facebook. I'm Violette L. Meier on Instagram. So if you know my name, you can find me anywhere.
I love it. I absolutely love it. All right. So as we start to wrap up, piece of advice for an inspiring author who may want to write something, in one of your genres, fantasy, for instance. What tips would you give them to be successful in that? And I'm not saying successful by what people say, being a successful writer in that genre.
Well, it's hard for me to say genre specific, but I think every great writer needs to be a great reader. I think it's almost impossible, and I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's almost impossible to be a great writer if you're not a great reader and observer of the world. So if whatever genre you're writing in, because you're a wordsmith, build your vocabulary. And building your vocabulary doesn't mean take a thesaurus and lose your mind. It means whatever vocabulary that you have, use it in a way that's unique to yourself, and build a voice and appeal to the people in the genre that you choose. So in fantasy, be very, very knowledgeable about whatever, like if you're writing about dragons, verse yourself in the lore, or if you dealing in mythology, make sure you know more about it, because when you're dealing with fantasy, sci-fi, paranormal belief, this is like you get into the genre, you get into the geek category. That's wonderful geeks. And people actually kind of know about what you're talking about. So you can wing it, but you're going to have to know a little bit too.
I love it. I love it. And I say this all the time. You want to be a great writer, you got to be a great reader. And we're missing that. And you can tell by the way you write, because we're using common words all the time, because and this and when. And so I automatically know you don't read, because your structure is very poor. It's like elementary, right? And so we know that reading helps to increase our vocabulary. But I think as adults, we think, oh, well, I'm just knowledgeable on this, I can just write whatever. You can, it's your book.
You do whatever you want.
Yes. And I like what you said about, about the fantasy genre. And when you get into those topics, those specific topics, there are people out there, like you said, who are just fanatics. So they know details of that genre. And if you're not speaking to that, they're going to know you're just in it to make money. And they will, I've seen this, they will blast you. They will blast you, and you will have negative reviews, and you just might as well go crawl up under a rock, because they're going to be like, no, this writer is garbage. I was like, oh my God, but I get it.
And it doesn't mean that you can't be free to explore the genre and add and build your own worlds. You are free to do that. It's mainly when you are doing things that are widely known, especially to genre-specific people. And we're like, okay.
Right. It's different. Like when you're teaching a baby to walk the first time, they take a couple steps, they fall down, and after a while they get it. But when they realize you keep falling, they hang you out to dry. So I love it. So I think that's very important. No matter what genre you choose to write in, do your research. Do your research. Don't think just because you may be an excellent writer that you can dominate any genre out there. Each genre has its own set of rules, and they do not cross over.
Yeah.
All subgenres in fiction do not cross over. In nonfiction, they do not cross over. Every subtopic has its own set of rules. But unless you know that, right, you're going to think that everything's the same. And it's not. So I absolutely love that you brought that out, because yes, that is so important. And I think a lot of authors miss that, because again, they're writing for profits and not for purpose.
Yeah.
They miss that whole piece, right? You could be a great storyteller, but if you don't know how to write effectively in that specific genre, you're going to lose the people, and they're going to tell everybody, don't buy that book.
But I'm going to say this. I was just listening to probably a week ago to Stephen King on writing. And he made a beautiful point. He said, write to your strengths. Like, some people are wordsmiths, and you'll love their books because of their beautiful vocabularies. And some people are simple, but they're immaculate storytellers. They remind you of your great grandma, and how you got that uncle that always got a story so fantastic and wild. But, play to your strengths, because people can feel that's not when you're trying too hard and it's not authentic.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's something that I learned, because I think in my very first novel that I wrote, I just wanted, because I love words, I wanted everyone to know how smart I was. So I pulled out my whole vocabulary itinerary. And I know my friends were like, I like the story, but I had a dictionary, like every few words. And I was like, ooh, that's problematic, because, people don't want something they're struggling through. Like, okay, what's going on here? So I had to learn to write in balance.
I love how you said that. Thank you for sharing that. And so I hope you guys are taking in these fantastic tips and strategies as you decide which genre you're going to write your book in, that you do your homework, that you read, that you are well-versed, in the rules, in the writing formats, the styles, what's required. And I always tell people, no matter what genre you choose, go and buy a couple of books out of that genre and read them. Flip through the pages, right? See how it's formatted. See the structure. Read and see what they're saying. To give you an idea of where to go, not to duplicate, right?
Yeah.
Write your own story, but to make sure that you're in alignment with what the industry standard is for that particular genre. And so we don't do the research part because it takes work. Like I tell people, there's more to writing than just writing.
Yeah.
You got to do work before you write. And that's the part we skip. You know, we tried to do them cliff notes like we used to get in high school when we didn't want to read the play. We didn't want to read the book. We went and got the quick version that was 20 pages instead of reading a 200-page book. Y'all, we can't do that. It just doesn't work well.
That is true.
It does not work well. So, Violet, I thank you so much for hanging out with me on the Get You Right On podcast. I have absolutely enjoyed your story, enjoyed everything that you have said and the tips that you've given to our audience. I appreciate you. So just tell them one more time how they can follow you on social media and how they can read your books. And then I'm going to wrap us up.
You can find my books on Amazon, and you can find them on violettemeier.com. I'm Violette L. Meier, L.Meier on Instagram, Violette Meier on Twitter, and Violette L. Meier on Facebook.
Awesome. So again, thank you so much, Violet.
You're
It's been
welcome.
a pleasure. I hope you guys have a great set and your husband does well in his band. All right. You said you guys.
Absolutely. So y'all check out Internet Islands.
Yes. Yes. So thank you so much. And we're going to wrap up and close out, you guys. So listen, for those of you who are interested in writing a book, so we are hosting a Get Your Right On 30-day book camp. The registration for March has already closed. We have already started. And so this is April 2022. If you happen to be listening to this podcast or watching this podcast after you'll have to go to our website, relentlesspublishing.com, to see if another book camp is available while you're watching this. So in this 30-day book camp, there will be 30 days of group coaching. We have a weekly Zoom session where 2 sessions are group coaching and then 2 sessions are dedicated writing sessions. You get a digital copy of the Get Your Right On Publishing Planner and Workbook. You have weekly assignments to do to guide you in your writing. And you get a customized publishing timeline. So this book camp is to help you get clarity on the book that you're writing and to help you get a framework so that you can get your book written within the year. In this 30-day camp, you will not complete your book unless you're doing a journal and it's just journal prompts. Okay, so this 30-day book camp is not for you to write a book in 30 days. Give you the start that you need so that you can write effectively, so that you can be well on your way, so the deadlines to meet, so that you can reach your dream of becoming a published author because you said that is what you want to do. So, and I'm excited to help you get your right on in this book camp. The investment is $197. Afterpay is available. So if you want to join the April 2022 session, go to our website, relentlesspublishing.com, and go ahead and register. Now, as a bonus, right? So we have two bonus offers, you get to choose one. All right. So the first bonus offer is $200 off the full service or the children's book publishing package. That's bonus number 1. And then the second bonus is $50 off the journal, our journal publishing package, So you choose one bonus. So that is an incentive to help you get your book done this year. So if you choose bonus number 1, you get to spend your money twice, right? So the investment for the book camp is $197. You get $200 off the full service or the children's book package. Okay, so I'm letting you spend your money twice as an incentive to let me help you get your book done. All right. And for those of you who have kids who are creative that like to write, listen, I'm so excited. So the Perry Junior Book Club is coming back for another summer session, the Creative Writing Virtual Summer Camp. This is a 5-week e-course. Okay, this is a 5-week e-course that I have pre-recorded videos that's going to walk them through the process of writing and creating their children's book. It is a short children's book. They get 5 illustrations and 5 pages of manuscript. This is not a traditionally published children's book. So this book will not be available on any online retailers, but it will be printed and they will be able to sell it. Okay, the goals of this Perry's Junior Book Club is to reiterate the importance of literacy among our children. I don't know why I'm getting tongue-tied today, you guys. Oh my gosh, that's so frustrating. To reiterate the importance of literacy and to introduce them into becoming an author. So who knows, once they do this camp and they have this small book, they may decide, I really like this. And they may make a life out of being a published author. Because we do know there are people who live off of book income. And so this camp is to introduce them to the world of being a published author. All right. So we give them 10 complimentary books to get them started. And then you guys will have access to order as many books as you want. Okay. So the investment for this course is $497. It is for school-age children ages 5 through 18. The book club starts on Saturday, June the 4th, and it is 5 weeks. So our goal is to get all of the books completely illustrated and done by September. All right. So as of today, there is no cap on the number of students that we're going to accept, but that may change depending on the volume of students that come in. So we had an amazing session. Last year, we did a virtual book fair for them for Black History Month. You can go to our YouTube channel, Relentless Publishing, and you can watch that virtual book fair that I was able to do with those 5 of the kids were able to come on. One of them was not feeling well. And so it was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So you guys, listen, as we say at Relentless, it is never too late to get your right on. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and you guys have an amazing day.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Get Your Right On podcast. Make sure to visit our website at www.relentlesspublishing.com. You can subscribe to our monthly mailing list, check out our publishing packages, and pick up our Aspiring Author Kit, which helps you get the book out of your head and into your hand. Don't forget to tell an aspiring author about our show and kindly leave us a review. Until next time, remember, it's never too late to get your right on.